I didn't say a word to my friend who was sitting next to me. My friend didn't say a word to me. What the hell is that? Welcome to Tony Halloween. I am Tony Halloween, and on this channel we're discussing all things Halloween. But today, I'm going to be repairing my cemetery fences. So these guys, they're about 5 years old now, and they have seen some stuff. Look out, Gus. So get this one out of the way. And we'll start with this guy. As you can see, it's missing some toppers. Quite a few of them, actually. It needs some touch up on the paint. Other than that, it's in pretty decent shape, so we'll start there. I've got my trusty cardboard here. I use this cardboard for probably a couple years now, and looks like my son's been using it as well. He's starting to play around with some different crafts. He's making cardboard armor and having cardboard fights with his friends, which is awesome. But I'm going to use this to protect the tree from the paint. Yeah, I might need to turn this a little bit. Put it that way. That makes more sense. There we go. That'll protect the tree from the paint. I hope it don't blow over that way. But let's start by cleaning it up, getting all the cobwebs and whatnot off, and then give it a fresh coat. And then we're gonna glue the toppers back on. All right. So I built these guys back in 2020, and I had just looked up on a number of various sites about how to build these things, and it turns out they're pretty easy. This is just a half-inch PVC pipe, a 1x3, which are pretty cheap. You can get those at Lowe's or Home Depot. Piece of wood here, and then I just use spray paint. Probably better to put some latex on it to keep it a little more protected from the weather, but that's okay. I don't mind cleaning them up every now and then. And we're just gonna get all the dust and the dirt. And we're just gonna polish this pole. Until it feels good. I'm just going to continue this process. I'll tell you a story while I'm doing this. but they're flying today. I happen to live next to the Warbird Museum by the Claremont County Airport. It's not too far from here, and we see a lot of interesting planes fly overhead from time to time, and I'm pretty sure whatever that is, it's worth getting a look at, but doesn't seem to be available. That's alright. I'll probably be back around. Back to polishing my pole. Oh, you gotta make sure you get it really good. Don't forget the tip. So anyway, I was gonna tell you a story while I was cleaning this up. I told y'all in one of those short videos that the house I grew up in was very old and very haunted. And there was this one day where I had a friend come over. This is kind of a weird story. But I was maybe, I don't know, 11, 12. And I got to have a friend spend the night, which was kind of a rare treat. You live not in a neighborhood. You don't get to have people over all the time, and that's okay. I had quite a few brothers and sisters, and we all kept each other busy, but on this particular instance, I did get to have a friend spend the night, and we thought we were hot stuff. We thought we would stay up all night, and we went and when my parents went to bed, we snuck up and we got ourselves a cup of coffee. And we sat up all night and we watched movies and told stories and we talked and we had ourselves a good old time. And then as morning drew near, it was probably about an hour before the sun came up. I had mentioned to him that, you know, there was a lot of woods around, and we were able to, we'd be able to go and see deer crossing the road because there was a creek across the street from my mom's house, and the deer would cross the road. If you were out there early enough, you would see them. They would go across the road out of the woods and go cross over to the creek. This one's a mess. And so we had the idea to go and just take some sleeping bags. This is what they're talking about when we hear Gen Xers talk about how things were back in the day. Well, we took our sleeping bags and walked out of the house, and then we put our sleeping bags on the side of the road. This is a fairly busy road. If a car had come flying down through there and come off the road just slightly, we probably would have died. But that's okay. We didn't. What happened though was we're sitting there on the side of the road. Sun was probably about, maybe 15 minutes before actually breaking through the horizon. And as I was sitting there looking, there was a mist coming up, a bit of a fog. It wasn't quite a full-on fog, but it was a little bit of a mist that was coming up off of the creek and rolling up over the road. It's kind of rolling in between the trees. And as we were sitting there, I was looking up the road and I saw a deer come out of the woods, and it poked its head out, and it was huge. It was massive. And it was also white, but I didn't really notice that at first because of how misty and foggy everything was. Everything kind of looked white. But he slowly walked out of the woods, slowly walked out to the middle of the road. Then he turned and looked at us. And he turned and looked at us, and then he slowly, and by slowly I mean he was in slow motion, as if somebody had rolled the video back to half speed or less. He started running down the road towards us. I didn't say a word to my friend who was sitting next to me. My friend didn't say a word to me. The hell is that? Huh. Anyway, my friend didn't say a word to me. I didn't say a word to him. We just sat there staring up the road, and this deer was running at us in slow motion. Goo-goo. 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 And when the deer had reached the point where my mother's yard starts, it leapt up into the air, and then there was a little noise, and it burst into tiny little bubbles. That's the only way I can describe it, is it turned into tiny little bubbles, and they just kind of spread out and then dissipated. Now, I still had not said anything about this. I was quietly trying to absorb it and trying to figure out if I'd actually saw what I had just seen. And I probably sat there in silence for several minutes when my friend says, "I just seen the weirdest thing," and proceeded to describe to me exactly what I had just witnessed. It was a crazy thing. All right, so now that we got it cleaned up a little bit, I'm going to take a can of spray paint and touch up the paint where it needs it. The executive producers are checking in on me to make sure we're safe. We're fine, guys. Just kind of touching up all these spots where the paint is worn off. Remember, if you're new to spray painting, you want to keep about a foot away, and that will keep it from running. And I like to use this technique of short bursts. That seems to help keep the help manage the amount. Oh, my brain is not working today. I mean, it never really works, but it's really not working today. So, where this one looked like this before, now it's looking more like this, and that's much more what we want to see, which is good. So we're going to touch this bottom one up. And then we just have, what, 6, 7 more panels to go. All right, the paint should be about dry, so let's go ahead and turn this around. Most important thing is making sure the top looks good. That's what people are going to be seeing for the most part. But you can't forget that there will be little kids who are shorter than the fence, and they will be able to see all the stuff that you don't. All right, we're going to let this dry, and while it is drying, we're going to go ahead and start on the next one. All right. That's pretty good. And there we have it. If you want to make these fences, they're pretty easy and not terribly expensive. I think they probably cost about maybe 20 bucks when you put all of it together for one panel. It's not too bad. And then just keeping up on them every year, making them look nice, making sure they're in decent shape. We've got about Excuse me. Got a few more of these to do, and then we'll be ready to put this up in a couple of weeks when October 1st hits. Super excited.